where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake.
This is the world I want to find myself in, a heaven of freedom. It's no wonder that this poem from Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali has inspired generations of humanity. With this profound and insightful composition in our minds, let me wish everyone present here a very good morning. The 7th of May marks the 160th birth anniversary of Sri Rabindranath Tagore. Tagore was the first non-European to have been awarded the prestigious Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913 for his collection of poems, Gitanjali. He reshaped Bengali music and literature as well as Indian art with contextual modernism in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Apart from fiction in the forms of poetry, songs, stories and dramas, his works include portrayal of common people's lives, philosophy, literary criticism and social issues. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore was highly influential in introducing Indian culture to the West and vice versa, and he is generally regarded as the outstanding creative artist of the early 20th century India. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore was awarded knighthood in 1915, but he repudiated it in 1990 as a protest against the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Gurudev's work was his sword. He let his work speak for him. His ideas, however controversial at the time, were revolutionary. He changed the landscape of Indian literature. His ideas as a social reformer were lauded by many. To quote Gurudev, "My dearest life, I know you are not mine forever, but do love me, even if it's just for this moment. After that, I shall vanish into the forest where you cast me. I shall not ask for anything else. Give me something that can last me till I die." Unquote. Today, we pay tribute to Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore passed away in 1941, but his work has remained immortal. The songs that he composed are popular till today and shall remain so for the times to come. His melodic stylings soothe one and all. With this, let us immerse ourselves into the genius of one of his most soulful songs, Anando Loke. a young boy, Tagore would watch a tiny patch of the earth and the sky from his perch at the window and internalizing the unique cadence to create a universe of his own. These experiences greatly influenced his literary career. Let me now draw your attention to a beautiful poem recitation, I Cannot Remember My Mother, by our skilled children.
I Cannot Remember My Mother by Rabindranath Tagore is a nostalgic poem. Tagore's mother passed away when he was very young. Therefore, in the poem, he expresses his inability to recall the face of his mother. On the other hand, he could only recall the tune that he shared with his mother in happy moments. So today, let's hear about the feeling that Rabindranath Tagore shares for his mother. I cannot remember my mother. Only sometimes in the midst of my play, a tune seems to hover over my playthings.
The tune of some song that she used to hum while rocking my cradle.
I cannot remember my mother, but when, in the early autumn morning, the smell of the shirley flowers floats in the air,
The scent of the morning service in the temple comes to me as the scent of my mother.
I cannot remember my mother, only when from my bedroom window I send my eyes into the blue of the distant sky.
I see that the stillness of my mother's gaze on my face has spread all over the sky.
During his sojourn in Europe, from Munich, Tagore went to Nuremberg. The poet lectured there and on 19th September 1926 composed what was to become one of his best-known songs, Amar Mukti Aloy Aloy, celebrating the spirit of freedom. Before we present a graceful dance on the song, here is the literal translation to understand its meaning. My emancipation is in the effulgence of the sky. My freedom is in the specks of dust, the blades of grass. On the distant margins of the body and mind I lose myself. My liberation floats high on the melodies of songs. My freedom is in the center of everyone's affection, in the challenging missions that defy grief and danger, in the fiery heat of the sacrificial arena of the earth's sustainer. May I offer my life as oblation in freedom's quest.
আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয় এই আকাশে আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয় আমার মুক্তি ধুলায় ধুলায় ঘাসে ঘাসে এই আকাশে আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয় Nizagamada Sanire Sada Pamada Bagamada Nire Dada Pa Nizagamada Sanire Sada Pamada Bagamada Nire Dada Pa দেহ মনের সুদূর পারে হারিয়ে ফেলি আপনারে ভাসে এই আকাশে আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয় এই আকাশে আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয়
আমার মুক্তি সর্বজনের মনের মাঝে
দুঃখ বিপদ তুচ্ছ করা কঠিন কাজে
আমার মুক্তি সর্বজনের মনের মাঝে
দুঃখ বিপদ তুচ্ছ করা কঠিন কাজে
বিশ্বধাতার যজ্ঞশালা আত্মহোমের বুদ্ধি জ্বালা
বিশ্বধাতার যজ্ঞশালা আত্মহোমের বহ্নি জ্বালা জীবন যেন প্রিয়াহুতি মুক্তি আসে এই আকাশে আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয় এই আকাশে আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয় আমার মুক্তি ধুলায় ধুলায় ভাসে ভাসে এই আকাশে আমার মুক্তি আলোয় আলোয়
In his childhood, in the early autumn days, Gurudev would rush to the inner garden in his house as soon as he would wake up. He referred to it as his paradise. The scent of dewy grass and foliage would rush to greet him, and the cool, fresh morning sunlight would greet and embrace him. We now present a song, Amra Shobai Raja, which signifies the importance of individuality and freedom. Tagore believed that each individual is endowed with the freedom to act as they wish. This should not be confused with anarchy or the liberty to compromise on morality. He insisted that falsehood, deception and dishonesty should be avoided. Please stand by for this melodious song.
আমরা সবাই রাজা আমাদের এই রাজা রাজত্বে নইলে মোদের রাজা সহে মিলব কি সত্যে আমরা সবাই রাজা আমরা সবাই রাজা আমাদের এই রাজা রাজত্বে নইলে মোদের রাজা সহে মিলব কি সত্যে আমরা সবাই রাজা আমরা যা খুশি তাই করি তবু তার খুশিতেই চলি আমরা যা খুশি তাই করি তবু তার খুশিতেই চলি আমরা নই বাধা নই দাসের রাজা দাসের দাসত্বে নইলে মোদের রাজা সবে মিলব কি সত্যে আমরা সবাই রাজা আমরা সবাই রাজা আমাদের এই রাজা রাজত্বে নইলে মোদের রাজা সবে মিলব কি সত্যে আমরা সবাই রাজা রাজা সবাই মান সে মান আপনি ফিরে মান মোদের কাটো করে রাখে কোনো অসত্যে নইলে মোদের রাজা সবে মিলব কি সত্যে আমরা সবাই রাজা আমরা চলবো আপন মাঠে শেষে মিলব তারই পথে আমরা চলবো আপন মাঠে শেষে মিলব তারি পথে মোরা মরব না কেউ বিফলতে বিষম আবর্তে নইলে মোদের রাজা সবে মিলব কি সত্যি আমরা সবাই রাজা আমাদের এই রাজা রাজত্বে নইলে মোদের রাজা সবে মিলব কি সত্যি আমরা সবাই রাজা।
During these harrowing times, we are reminded of a quote by Pablo Picasso, who once said, and I quote, "The purpose of art is washing the dust of daily life off our souls." I unquote. Tagore turned to painting when he was in his 60s. Nevertheless, he produced thousands of works and was the first Indian artist to exhibit his works across Europe, Russia, and the United States in 1930. His painting style was very individual, characterized by simple bold forms and a rhythmic quality. We shall now see some artwork by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. As a young boy, Tagore would spend his evenings in the servant quarters with his brothers, and they would practice writing and spelling in English. When he was 11, he accompanied his father on a tour across India. While on this journey, he read the works of famous writers, including Kalidas, the celebrated classical Sanskrit poet. Upon his return, he composed a long poem in Maithili style in 1877. We now have students reciting a poem written by Kavi Guru, translated in Hindi. देश की माटी देश का जल.
देश की माटी देश का जल, हवा देश की देश का फल, सरस बने प्रभु सरस बने, सरस बने प्रभु सरस बने, देश के घर और देश के घाट, देश के वन और देश के बाल, सरल बने प्रभु सरल बने, सरल बने प्रभु सरल बने, देश के तन और देश के मन, देश के घर के भाई बहन, विमल बने प्रभु विमल बने, विमल बने प्रभु विमल बने.
Dance is the hidden language of the soul. The progress of our soul is like a perfect poem. It has an infinite idea, which once realized makes all movements full of meaning and joy. Only those of tranquil minds and none else can attain abiding joy by realizing within their souls the being who manifests one essence in a multiplicity of forms. In 1878, Rabindranath Tagore moved to Brighton, East Sussex, England to study law. He attended the University College London for some time, following which he started studying the works of Shakespeare. In 1912, he went to England and took a sheaf of his translated works with him. In England, he introduced his works to some of the prominent writers of that era, including William Butler Yeats, Ezra Pound, Robert Bridges, Ernest Rhys, and Thomas Sturge Moore. He was influenced by musicians of the West and infused their styles in his songs. Please stand by for a ballet by our students on the song Phule Phule Dhole Dhole by Tagore, which is based on the Scottish song Ye Banks and Braes, O Bonny Doon by Robert Burns.
It is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks. I would like to extend my gratitude to Principal Ma'am, Vice Principal Ma'am, all the teachers and students whose efforts have made today's event a grand success. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the school fraternity for organizing such events that instill a deep sense of pride in all students about our country's legacy and heritage. I would also like to thank all the students who participated today and mesmerized us with their performances. Once again, I thank one and all present here. Thank you and stay safe.